Well, then let's go. So now we are going to talk about marketing and how to never run out of content for your social media, or how do you get lazy and you can post regularly still. So about me, um, I am Ayael. I do many things for Storia, but I am, among other things, the main marketer. We are currently working on Imperial Grace, and I have released two other games which are free. So if you want to take a look, don't hesitate. So for example, for Imperial Grace, I had to schedule more than 100 of posts for 3 consecutive months for our Kickstarter. And I am doing that again right now. So today I wanted to share all my little techniques to find ideas about what I could post on social media. So first, we are going to talk about post opportunities. So every marketing bit you can jump in to post something. And then we are going to do all the contraries, which mean getting from your assets to social media posts. And then we are going to see how we can recycle everything. And I have a couple of tips for the end to work more efficiently, because I know that for a lot of people, marketing is not the funniest part, but it's still important. And I hope you can still enjoy yourself while doing it. So, post opportunity. First, there is tons of things you will have to announce on your social media. And I think a lot of indie treat their work with some kind of shyness when they can go full on and announce their announcement like 1 week earlier and say, we are going to have something exciting next week, or make countdown for major releases and stuff like that. So essential announcements involve things like game reveals, store page available, demo available, crowdfunding like Kickstarter if there is one, the game release, a sequel, DLC, merch, etc. And then there is some major announcement that don't deserve the same blow, but still are important to always say. So updates, feature, release date, trailers. You can have several trailers, like it's not a triple A thing that indie cannot do if they have the resources to do it. Event like stream, giveaway, Steam Fest, that kind of thing. And when you reach game milestone and you want to share your joy with the community. So all of these are already some basically free posts you absolutely have to make to not get lost. Then there is all the international day and months and celebrations. So celebrations like Valentine's Day and stuff like that. International months are more tricky because they are often about discrimination and stuff like that. So if your game or your team doesn't involve the stuff in question, you shouldn't jump in for you at least, but you can always valorize someone else, like another game you like and who feature some Black character, for example, or some LGBTQ plus characters, for example, because visual novel is not a lonely work, I hope. We are a very lovely community, and I think it's always nice to think about the fact you can also lift up each other and of course jump in if you are concerned by the question. Uh, I I made a link with the complete list of the international months. And after that, you have international days. There are some serious stuff like International Women's Day Ride, for example, but there is also more funny stuff like National Pizza Day or Bagel Day. Or every kind of food have their own day. You can see the complete list from Hootsuite, for example. So don't hesitate to just take a look and grab something that fits your game aesthetic. And it's, again, some kind of free content you can use for opportunity to post. Then there is the shit posting, the trends and memes. These are super cool too. They usually don't require too much work. You can jump on the trend. For that, you just have to be in the community. If you follow other devs, you're going to see the trend. There's no real problem about that. I linked an article by Chris Zukowski on how to go viral on Twitter, and it was about using the trending hashtags on Twitter. It requires more interest on it, and I'm not sure how relevant it is anymore after the whole Elon Musk situation, but that can be something too. About memes and funny posts about your game, animation charts usually works well with visual novel because we have usually several characters to put in these shots. You can also make meme jar, like the Let's Be Yuri Together there is that I displayed from Studio Ellen. And then there is a private joke or stuff that are related to your game. But fair warning about this one, if your account is new, they're not going to get any engagement because it's only for people who already played your game. So the more you have content released, the more you have people on your social media, the more this kind of thing is going to make someone else laugh. So use it with care. Um, Image Flip is the website I use for most of my memes, and I think it's super handy. So I clearly recommend it if you don't know where to start. And this is like, you can post how much you want of this illimited content. Then there is something you can do to engage with your community. For example, show a bit of the real human behind to play on the fact that you are an indie, so you have a voice contrary to a lot of AAA studio who just are huge companies, faceless. Of course, you should always stay in the realm of what is comfortable for you. For example, me, I share pics of my cats, and that's pretty much everything people will see about me. But sometimes I talk about things I know and about the fact of there is some topics that are important to me, and that's why I included them in my game. So this kind of personal layer can really add something. But again, it's all about being comfortable with it, and you have no obligation whatsoever to do that, but it's something you can do. Then I would encourage answering to people comment and questions and encouraging those comments and questions. I think if you are using Tumblr, the ask feature is really useful. And otherwise, you can do ask me anything on stream or social media. But once again, fair warning, this usually works only when you start to have a fair share of followers. Otherwise, it can be a bit disheartening at first. That's why asks are good because they are not time framed things. Um, I think it's also very important to encourage and share fan work. This will again rise more when you release something, and you should absolutely just like repost or retweet something that was made for your game, which means sometimes looking for your game tag, for example, on social media. And if it's something posted on like your Discord, just has the permission, but usually people are fine with you reposting the content with a little credit or something. And then once again, once you have finished your game, you can use your favorite reviews as content. So like there is a lot of content that can stream from people and people playing your games. But the hardest part is to finish the game first. Then how do we do the contrary? Like, how do I create content from my assets? So since we are a visual novel conference, I really took from this. For example, I have this background in Imperial Grace, and I want to do a little fun game. How many different posts I can make with this background alone? You have 5 seconds to guess. So with just this image, I say 4. Like right on the top of my mind, I have something about a devlog thing, like, hey, we have a new background. I have something more like featuring. So, oh, this is a beautiful garden. It is romantic, and we have romance in our game, so we can lean about this. Then that's something I didn't think of, and I just realized when I resaved the background. So it was me thinking about the work I did. So like, I'm going to need another version of this background I didn't commission first. So that's like a little anecdote. And then it's like me nerding about historical accuracy that I didn't respect at all in my games. But I know why, and that like to share this kind of facts. So that's for posts just with one background, but I can do many, many more if I add other variation of the image, like the night version or the whip version, and or like the reference source, things that inspired me and stuff like that. Of course, I'm not going to post 10 times in a row my background. That's going to be very spammy for people. But something to know about social media is like your followers will probably, half of your followers will probably never see something you post because algorithm. So posting the same thing with a different angle is totally not a problem as long as you don't do it in a row. So you should definitely space it out with other content and with time. But like if I post about this background once in a month and there is 10 other posts between each of this, that's not a problem at all. And people probably won't really notice or care I posted the same image to illustrate it something because the content in itself is a bit different each time. And that's what I use to ground myself, this little shot of it. I try to find one ID for each asset I have that fits in these categories. And it's helped me tremendously to find different angle to tackle one asset or one aspect of my game and to really cover it all. So feature will be like gameplay, tone, genre, what define your game. And even in visual novels, there is a lot of different things like, well, for example, the audio we saw, the dynamic audio is definitely a feature that could be advertised. Uh, or with your game, does your game have choices or stuff like that? Then there is the lore. Obviously, it's more useful, it's more evident when you have like a fantasy or sci-fi game where you just have a lot of diegetic things to introduce. But it can work too with slice of life in grounded in real life because is your game set in a real place? Then why this place? What do you have to say about this place in particular? Is your game set in a very particular job? Why did you choose this job? What kind of researches you make? Do you have any experience with this job, etc., etc.? There is a lot of comparison to make even in real life, actually. Then there is the engagement part. It's like, how can I turn this asset into something more interactive? So I pick several examples. For example, I like how Validate used the fact their character have several expression and they are very expressive to make it into a little game. Like, how do you feel today? And I think it's something like most dev can do because most of us have different expressions on our characters. Another example I made is like the way I construct the noble titles in Imperial Grace is almost playful. And when I realized that, I made this little thing for our Kickstarter campaign, and it works pretty well. So this is the kind of ideas I try to find this in this category. Then there is the inspiration. What inspired you for this asset, references, picture, other game, media, or anything, or your cats, your life, this kind of things. Then there is the real devlog aspect, like I made this, I commissioned this is new. It's just showing the game is progressing. It's not more, we are not into the realm of attracting new people there. We are more into the realm of okay, here's the player that are already following me. I want to show them that there is progress made. And MetaDev is on the same category. For example, it's more about reflecting about the thing you do, like why did you commission this background and not the other version, or this character have a sprite and this other character is just a shadow. For example, it's really about all the consent decision you make. You can talk about it if you want, and it's always pretty interesting, I think, to see people understanding why you did what you did. Everything is an asset. Your game art, your dev document, your character's personality, your game audios, etc., etc. I don't have the time to go over it, but I'm going to slowly skip my presentation to show you how I used this chart with a character personality. That the fact we have a strong MC, which a main character, which is a good feature of us, like an important thing for me. So I did it for with that. So like it's not always just images that can be considered like assets. That's what I wanted to show here. And you can take a better look when there is a replay in YouTube. Because we have 5 minutes left for two other important parts. Get the best of your previous assets. So first, I said that social media were very volatile. Like we don't see all the content someone posts, except if you are looking specifically in their profile. And the other thing is like people forget. They forget very quickly. There is so many things on social media all the time, all the time. So it's totally okay to repost just for people who didn't see your asset, for example. First thing we can do is like divide. When you do like top tens or a list of things, you can actually make 10 posts and then a recap post because it would just spread out a bit the content and create something a bit exciting like, oh, I am curious to see what is the next, and then you have the full recap at the end. Or on the contrary, even if it was not something planned, it was something spread over the years, like you are slowly introducing all your characters one after the other as the rhythm they are make. And at the end of the year, you make a beautiful post with all of them together. That's something you can totally do, and it doesn't require any new assets, but it's just another mood to have them all together. Then you can reblog your own post. Of course, there should be some time between this. As I said, like I think never less than a month, and it also depends on how much you post in this month. But if a post did very well, you can retweet it or reblog it, or reblog it with the new information or stuff like that. And of course, you can also cross post between platforms. It's very important to not like overwork yourself and think, oh, I have to do something very special for each platform. Like, no, no, no. Try to use what you already made and to repost it in a different format if necessary on other stuff. But if you are creating something special for each post, it's going to be very, very difficult. And if you think that some posts underperform, like you had a super cool idea, the visual is super great, and you're thinking, damn, this didn't get any engagement, don't hesitate to try again. There is no law forbidding you to doing that. So maybe try changing slightly the wording, maybe try changing the pictures or something. But every now and then you can just try again your luck, and that's what is cool with social media. There is actually no perfection pressure. You are not pitching to uh, a fund for a funding on something where people will say no or yes. You are trying, and each time you make a post, you have a new chance of getting someone attention or making a smile to someone who is already following you. And you have no limited amount of time where you can play this actually. So that's one of my tips. It's don't stress over the quality of each post. Social media is not about perfection. It's more about quantity and trying again and again. Of course, you have to try to do something good, but you don't have to be something perfect. And I think TikTok is really what learned me that, because there is no absolute equation like, oh, this thing I spend 3 hours will work well, and this thing I spend 10 minutes will work, finally will work better. So just try your luck. Then remember who you are posting for. It's what I was trying to say during this talk, is like, you are not in the same space if you are just starting your social media account or if you have already 2,000 followers. So try to focus first on things that will touch the largest possible people, and then you can try to focus more on nurturing your community already existing. Something I could recommend too is working in batch, because once you have everything set up, like your software to create image and stuff like that, it's going to be much more easy to produce a post that if you have to do that each day. So take a day of a month, of a week, and just schedule all of your posts in a row. Get some pre-made graphic, like for your major and minor announcement we were taking earlier. It will help with the visual coherence of your account, and it will also save you times because, oh, I have something important to announce. Well, you already have your graphic. You just have to change the text. That's done. Stay positive. I see some devs trying to like vent on their social media, and I think it's really not a good idea. So if you are not in the position to post, just don't do it and protect yourself first. And the last two are like follow other people, like don't stay alone in your little world and try to see what other devs are doing and write their idea you like, and it will give you tons of cool ideas. That's everything for my talk. I give you some two great articles by Arimia who inspired this talk in the first place, so thank you, and some broad resources about other kind of social media marketing, but that can be helpful to find original ideas of what to post on top of everything I already said. Uh, is there any questions?
All right, guys. Questions. There's been a lot of chatting going on. All right. Show your questions, people. Because there were so many people just going, "Oh yeah," and then like, "Oh, here's one. How to integrate call to action media posts without being demanding?"
Um, what People are not forced to do what you are asking them, and what is wrong with demanding something to someone if you're doing gently? Like, I think a lot of people are actually shy, but you shouldn't. You should be proud of your work, and you are not asking a lot. So yeah, if you want them to perform an action, just do it. And as long as you are not trying to be mean, there is absolutely no problem. Like, why someone would be offended if you ask them to wishlist your game on Steam or whatever? Like, really, don't. You are making something cool. You are giving your time to do something cool, and most people are just pleased if they want to support you to do it. So just tell them how you want to do it and don't feel bad about it. Be proud of what you made.
Cool. All right. Someone asked, do you suggest using a scheduler for having a steady flow or posting only in real time?
I do use a schedule. Like when I have to do like big marketing campaign like I'm doing right now, I use Notion as my schedule. So like I have a chart with every day and I try to post something each day. But then it just depends of what is the most comfortable for you. Like if you decide I'm going to post 3 times a week, on Monday, on Wednesday, and on Sunday, well, you can use a scheduler to help you know what you did. Otherwise, if you are talking about scheduling the posts themselves, most of social media allow it right now, except TikTok, which is like always behind.
All right. Do you use A/B test for promo materials or just track stats on successful posts?
I should be more self-reflective about my own work, but usually I just like go with the flow. I will notice if something got more engagement than the others. But as I said, I don't try to focus too much on the success because it can be very disheartening if you are expecting too much on the post and it's really doesn't go well. So like I try to think about what I want to say about my game and then I say it. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, well, it doesn't work. It's okay. And if I'm really disappointed because I didn't have any expectation, but actually I had, I am going to try again later. But I don't have like real statistics or like, oh, this post did good when it reached this number of level or stuff. Like, I think tracking too much is can be really problematic on the long run because you can only be disappointed that you are not performing better. I will more try to look at the bigger picture. Like at the end of my 2 months social media practice, I will watch the will my wishlist grow? Will my channel grow? And I will only look at it at the number like once in a month and see if the growth is higher than usual because I posted more or not at all. And usually it is. So I'm thinking it's good, but that's all.
Cool. Okay. Someone asked, do you have any advice for how to balance, hey, look, this is cool versus technical dev blog things?
Well, technical dev blog things can be cool too, but as I say, I think it should be at least 50-50. And maybe like if you're not sure about it, like post more about how this is cool than technical stuff. But I think technical stuff it's still interesting as long as it's very focused on a dev log aspect. Like we are making progress because some posts will get a tons of engagement when you are talking about for example, how do you program dynamic audio music? If you are talking about that on social media, you will have tons of answer, but it will be by other devs, and other devs are not your target audience. So don't try too much to lean on the technical aspect because you are going to don't reach the good people actually, even if it's super cool.
Okay. Let's see here. Is there such a thing as being too overbearing with your marketing so that to the point where people start unfollowing you?
No. Like I mean, the only time I unfollow someone because he was spamming me was like they were posting like 5 times a day, and it was overwhelming. But usually people doesn't have this kind of time on their hand. So even if you post once a day, it's like totally cool. And as I said, anyway, most people won't see every of your posts. So don't worry about this.
Cool. And then okay, last question here is someone's asking about posting soundtrack previews. They don't want to do show visuals, but they a lot of their work goes into the audio, so they kind of want to do that. What are your feelings around that?
Well, I included the audio in my list of assets, so obviously do it. Like it's going to be a little harder to get attention on this because social media are really visual, but maybe if you do like a cool visual background image to go on behind the audio, for example, or like you have a cool catch line, it kind of works very well too. And audio are a big part of visual novels, so you should definitely advertise your audio and not only your characters and your graphic.
Cool. All right. So thank you so much. A lot of people got a lot of things out